In this episode of the How to Get on Reality TV podcast, we talk about focusing on what really matters in your character development in your audition story. Welcome to the How to Get on Reality TV podcast with Dan Giesling, where I answer your reality TV casting questions once a week. Hey everyone, what's going on? It's Dan Giesling, and this is the first time in a while we've published a podcast on a Tuesday and not on a Monday. But with that being said, I have a question for you guys before we get into this week's podcast. This question's more of a request. I have a feeling that we need to tweak the show a little bit. I want to find out what you find most helpful and what you would change about the podcast. So here's what I want you to do. Send me an email directly to me. I will read them. No one else reads them. I always check my own email and respond to email myself. Send an email to Dan@HowToGetOnRealityTV and send me two things. First thing, tell me your favorite thing or the most useful thing you get from the show. And the second thing, tell me what you would change or add to the show. So tell me what you like and what you learn the most from the show. And the second thing is tell me what you don't like or what you would change or add to the show. Send me an email to Dan@HowToGetOnRealityTV. I'm going to read a few of them on the next podcast. And if I pick your suggestions, then I'll send you something or I'll hook you up with something. But send it to Dan@HowToGetOnRealityTV.net. That is my email. Goes to me directly. So thank you guys for helping out the show. I just feel like we need to tweak it and adjust it and turn it up to a little bit different level. So we're just going to leave it at that. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into this week's question from Chris, which is all about learning on what to focus on in your character development. It's kind of an interesting take on an age-old question.
Hey Dan, I'm Chris from Pittsburgh. I'm 29 and I'm a graphic designer. I also work part-time at a funeral home making DVD slideshows. It makes me feel good knowing that I'm helping in the mourning process people have, even if they're complete strangers. Fun fact though, I'm a little manipulative. I've trained a coworker seriously like Pavlov's dog, unbeknownst to him. You said that you need to be your authentic self. Should I focus on characteristics that could help me be a contender to win the show? Or should I focus on characteristics that are still true but have a lot less controversial tone, like my compassion for helping others going through tragic events? Because I don't want to be labeled by the casting associates with other thousands of people who say the same cutthroat things like being manipulative, because I'm thinking they've probably heard that 1,000 times. Thanks, Dan. Keep up the good work.
This is an interesting question by Chris because he almost answers his own question. He knows what's right, but I don't know if he's just looking for a little validation. But Chris, and I think it's good because you ask a question a lot of people don't realize they're doing. But it seems like I'm glad you asked this because we can kind of use this as a case study as well. But the big question that Chris asked is, hey, what do I focus on in terms of my character building in my casting story? Do I say things that make me look like I'm going to win the show, or should I focus on developing who I am as a person? And this is a no-brainer, 100% you have to do this. Don't talk about how manipulative or competitive or what a great leader you are or how when you're on the show you're going to win. Because guess what? Just like Chris said, everyone says that. Everyone. So if everyone says that, you're not differentiating yourself one bit. What you should focus on, this is kind of a mind shift or a motto shift or a thesis shift or whatever you want to call it. When you're making your video, you shouldn't be making your video showing why you're going to win. You need to make your video showing why you should be put on the show. Because really it's not really their job to pick a winner or to cast a winner on the show. They're there to cast interesting people. So the focus of your audition video needs to be about making your audition video interesting. The way you make it interesting is you tell stories. The way you tell stories is you reveal interesting, funny, tragic, memorable things about yourself, and you don't say what everyone else says. I'm going to be the best competitor since X, or I manipulate people in my everyday life. That is so played out, you have no idea. And so don't do that. What you want to do is explain yourself and explain your story. More importantly, let's take Chris's story. Right away, he says he's a graphic designer. Sorry, Chris, but there's a lot of graphic designers out there. But he said he also works for a morgue or a funeral home. That's pretty interesting. Not a lot of people do that. And so that's what I would focus on. I would focus on, say, hey, I work in a funeral home. Automatically, you're going to catch people's attention. And then what you do with that from there is, how you differentiate yourself. So you grab their attention because you do something kind of unique and I don't want to say weird, but definitely not common. And then I would probably, what I like to do is you take something like that and then you do something unique with it. So people may think you're going to be really somber, really serious. Maybe you make a ton of jokes about it. Maybe you talk about funny stories about, stuff that happens in the morgue. I don't know. But that's what I would take if I were you, Chris. Number one, don't waste your time talking about being competitive and manipulative. Don't do that. Talk about your time in the morgue. Explain what that's like. Explain what it's like being around dead people. Explain what it's like being around people that are crying their face off 100% of the time. And you don't know them and you have to act sympathetic or how you are sympathetic. Have you seen some I know this is a little more, but have you seen some really crazy deaths or whatever? I don't know. But these are all things that people that don't work in a morgue or don't work in a funeral home think about. And so if you're able to kind of inject a lighthearted mood or something unexpected or funny, or maybe something that you wouldn't think a lot of people would admit that work in a funeral home. And I know you just make DVDs, but you can extrapolate that. Maybe you start volunteering there to help out and to gain some casting experience or to gain some stories you can share. But really, I think that's the interesting part of your story, because there's a lot of graphic designers out there. There's not a lot of people that work in funeral homes to that capacity. So that's what I would do. And I think that's the overarching answer to this question, is to find out. And this is I feel like we talk about this so much and there's always different ways to look at it. But when you are building your story, and this is, I don't feel like we've addressed this directly, for you to talk about being competitive or, say that you manipulate people. I just cringe when I hear that. I really, really cringe. Not because it's oh, how could they say that? But more it's just that's the last thing you want to say. And sometimes, if this is the first podcast you're hearing, or, if you never thought about it, but if you just take out all that stuff you talk about being competitive or being manipulative, take that out of your audition video and fill it with something that's interesting about you, I guarantee you're going to see better results than if you were just to talk about how you're going to play the game and things like that, or whatever the show is. So that being said, Chris, I hope this helps, and I hope this shifts your focus on what's most important to focus on in your character development. And as a small thank you, we're going to send you a free digital copy of my story, How a Normal Guy Got Cast on Reality TV. And if you want your question answered on the podcast, just like Chris, go to howtogetonrealitytv.net/ask and leave your voicemail question there. Thanks, Chris. All right, so that wraps up episode 82 of the How to Get on Reality TV podcast. Please email me right now from your phone, from maybe if you're listening while you're running, stop running, and just email me at dan@howtogetonrealitytv.net. Tell me the one thing you love or learn most from the show, and then tell me what you would change or one thing you would add to the show. So tell me what's working for you and what's not working for you, because I want to change the show. I want to add some more to the show. I want to bring some more value to you guys and find a way to help more people. And the best way to do that, from what I've learned, is to listen to you. So I'm going to read all your emails. I'll respond to them all. I'm going to pick a few of them to read on the show on the next episode. And for those people that are going to get something a little special, because when you guys take the time out to email me directly and help make the show better for other people, I'm going to thank you for that. So email me at dan@howtogetonrealitytv.net, and I will see you guys next time.